um, can anyone here tell me the difference between the Creole musicians and the uptown musicians in New Orleans? That's also chapter 4.
So yeah,
Uh, you're kind of breaking it up. It's hard to hear you. Oh shoot. Yeah, we can't. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. You went into robot mode. Yeah, I'm sorry. You could type it. Why don't you type it in the chat what you were saying? Oh shoot. Oh yeah.
Because okay, I know the New Orleans style.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay, I stopped the video. Can you hear me now better
Yeah, it's a
or
little
no?
better. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because the New Orleans style, they have front line. I know it's more. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking because my computer and internet sucks. Y'all take over. I'm just listening now. Shoot.
Oh, okay. Well, we could hear you. So no, you're right about the front line for sure. Um, and so some differences between the Creole players and the Uptown players. Um, and so the Creoles were, um, they were kind of musically trained, and they spoke French and Spanish, and they were just kind of a little bit more well polished musicians in general. Whereas the Uptown players, they were uneducated, and they couldn't read music. They used improvisation to kind of hide their flaws. And Creoles believed that these Uptown players were not really professional musicians. Um, but then what ended up happening is that the Creoles taught the Uptown players, um, some of the musical training, and so then all of a sudden the Uptown players were able to learn, some of this music theory and all that kind of stuff. But they also still had their improvisation skills and, the quick thinking musically and all that kind of stuff. So they were starting to get the best of both worlds. So I think of the Creoles as kind of like your book smart musicians, and the Uptown players were kind of your street smart musicians. But eventually, the street smart musicians started getting lessons from the book smart musicians. So then these street smart musicians were getting a little book smart too. And so that's how I kind of see the Creoles versus the Uptown players. So then going back to Buddy Bolden was an Uptown cornet player, and he was the one regarded kind of as the first important jazz musician. But there's no recordings of him, so everything is kind of hearsay. But I think it's fairly accurate what everyone says about him. He had a unbelievable tone on the trumpet, like very distinct. You'll know it's Buddy Bolden. Uh, uh, and his style was just like that of no other. And some people say that he invented jazz, and you can't really say for sure if he invented jazz. Um, but it is highly likely because there wasn't anyone who really came before Buddy Bolden, and he had no rivals at the time either. He was kind of the only person doing what he did, and he had a way of drawing in the crowd and getting people excited for the music. Um, and unfortunately, he was fighting depression and alcoholism, and admitted to a state hospital for the insane in 1906, and he stayed there the rest of his life. Kind of a sad ending for a great musician like Buddy Bolden. But as we'll see, as we'll learn about some more musicians, that's, there's a pattern there. A lot of these jazz musicians have a pretty rough life, and so it can get kind of sad sometimes. It's like, why am I doing this? But it's okay. So yeah, but that's Buddy Bolden. Yeah, so definitely have some stuff about him. I think the thing to know about him is that he was regarded as the first important jazz musician. He was a cornet player. That's important to know. And even though his career was pretty short, it was like maybe 10 years or so, he had the respect of every musician in the area and had a pretty large following. Yeah. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's important to know. Oh yeah, because I was saying you gotta know the instruments that the people play as well. So yeah, so make sure when you're doing your research on or looking at your notes for the musicians, also make sure you know what instruments that they play too. Yeah. So I have about a couple minutes here for any last minute questions about the test or any info about the class even too. I think that was helpful. Let's see, what else do we got here? Oh, the instruments in the rhythm section. What are some instruments that are in the rhythm section of a band?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What are some instruments that are in the rhythm section of a band?
Piano, bass, drums, vibra, orga, synthesizer, banjo.
Yeah. Those are all of them. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, piano, bass, drums, guitar, even vibraphone, the banjo. Those are all rhythm section instruments. And so then what about thinking about the frontline instruments? When you're thinking about New Orleans style specifically, what are the frontline instruments? There's three main ones.
Was that one? The frontline instrument for the band for New Orleans?
No, but it would later become in that category, but not for this time period.
Oh, okay.
But it would eventually. But in this New Orleans, the older New Orleans style, there was three main instruments that were used in the front line. But you're close. You're very close.
Drum?
What?
No, not clarinet.
Clarinet? Yeah, that. Clarinet.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, clarinet's one of them. There's two more.
Trumpet?
Trumpet or cornet. Those are kind of interchangeable.
Oh, it's the same.
Yeah. Cornet's like cornet type of trumpet. And then there's one more.
Would it be piano? No, I can't march for no dang piano.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so piano would be part of the rhythm section. Yep.
Trombone?
Trombone. Yeah, that's it right there. And so yeah, cornet, clarinet, and trombone. Those are the three main instruments in the front line for New Orleans. And it's also important to know kind of the role of each of those. And so with the cornet, excuse me, with the cornet, they're kind of the ones playing the melody. And the clarinet is gonna be playing the counter melody. And so if you remember, the counter melody it's when there's a line or a melodic line that goes against the actual melody. So you have the cornet playing the main melody of like the Saints Go Marching In, and then the clarinet plays a counter melody to that. And then the trombone is doing more sustained notes or long notes to go with all that as well. So we've got a lot of stuff happening all at once. And if you wanna hear a great example of that, listen to the New Orleans video I put up of New Orleans jazz. What did I call that? I think I called it New Orleans examples. Yeah. So if you go to the module, chapter 4 module, and you go to the New Orleans examples, there's a video of them exploring New Orleans jazz. And that's exactly the New Orleans vibe right there. And those guys are really good at it. But if you're like thinking about, okay, what is the role of these instruments in the front line? Watch this video and you'll see exactly what the role is for each of those. But yeah, it's like the cornet plays the melody, the clarinet's doing counter melody and it's improvised, and then the trombone's doing sustained notes or long notes, to go with all that. Yeah, that's important too, for sure. So yeah, hopefully that helped. If you guys have any last minute questions, I'll answer them right now. If not, I think we're good to go. Hopefully that was somewhat productive. I think I went over a good amount of things to know. And like I said, use that review guide to help you, and the listening guide as well, to know which songs to check out. And make sure the Google slides that I put up are helpful, because then it has kind of the stuff that I'm saying. Those are basically my lecture notes. So if you kind of get some notes from there, you're basically getting the lecture notes of what I was saying. So that's a good place to get some info as well. And so yeah, I think that's it. If you guys don't have any other questions, thanks for coming out. Hopefully this was helpful. Yeah, I know it's weird online, at least for me, doing something like this, but hopefully this was helpful. And I'll put it up so you guys can watch it again if you want, or for the people who aren't able to be here, can check it out. So cool. So yeah, I'll see you guys next week, I guess. I'll post the exam on Monday, probably about noon. And like I said, you'll have till Friday night to finish it, and you'll get one attempt. So make sure when you start it, you're ready to finish it. and you are able to use your notes. I know we're online and you might have already been going to use your notes anyways, but I'm telling you, use your notes to help you. Just don't copy and paste, because that's pretty obvious to tell. So yeah, just don't do that and you're good to go. So yeah, so I'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for coming, and thanks for all this. Yeah, take it easy.